Well, hello everyone, Dan Hurd Prospecting here. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome. I hope to earn your subscription today. I am here high in the mountains, way above the Fraser River at one of my hard rock gold claims. There are quartz seams on this gold claim that host gold. I'm up here today to take a big sample, a couple buckets worth of quartz that hopefully I can take back down to Jason at Mount Baker Mining and Metals, run through his equipment and see if there's any free milled gold in these quartz veins. The old reports say there is gold. I'm hoping it's free milled gold. So wish me luck, and I hope you enjoy. Now I'm doing easy prospecting today. I'm walking around with a bucket and I'm going down all the road cuts along the claim and digging through the banks and collecting the pieces of quartz. As I walk along, I start seeing, you know, there's a nice piece of quartz. There's a rock with a quartz seam in it. Anywhere I see quartz, I'm grabbing the rocks, throwing them in the bucket. And I'm using the shotgun approach for this first sample, meaning I'm taking a bit from here, a bit from there, a bit from everywhere, putting it all in one bucket. We'll run it all through the machine, and if I see any free milled gold, I'll then come back and start trying to focus in on the area that may have, you know, the good stuff. But right now, walking by and trying to find stuff that looks like that. And that is the nicest piece I've found so far. Look at the sulfides rotting out of the quartz. That's where you find the gold. Definitely a great looking piece. Typically on quartz veins like this, not always, but typically you have sulfides inside the quartz that weather away when they're left on the surface like that. And that is where the gold hides. Usually is either in the sulfides or in the transition between the sulfides and the quartz. So the more vuggy, the more pockets, the more, you know, rotted out sulfides you can find, the better chance finding gold. So let's go for a walk with my bucket and see what I can find. Now we're talking higher concentrations. I see bigger rocks and lots of them. One right there, a bunch up there. I see a whole bunch in that little wash. There's a little draw wash coming out there. I see a whole bunch. I might be able to get quite a bit from here. Now we're talking. I see a lot of quartz here. There, up there. Looking over in this little wash coming down, I see a bunch of rock at the top, white rock. Another little wash over here. I'll be able to get a whole bunch from right here. Really nice looking stuff. I like it when it's more rusty looking than just straight white, but oh yeah, look at the vugginess of this piece of quartz. Just all falling apart. Way up in the hill. Duh. As I kill myself on the way down. You can see some of it here right in the bedrock, right in the shale, the slate, whatever this is. But I'm not chipping away today. I'm just grabbing the float samples. Float means loose rock. I'm going to obviously have to be a bit selective with which float samples I take because there's far too many. Oh, how about that one? No, I won't be taking that guy today. That's all one big chunk of quartz. But that's nice to see that, you know, there are possibilities of really large quartz veins around. Well, there's the first bucket full. Well, let's go for another. So you may have heard me talk on my channel about min files. Those are mineral files. Here in British Columbia, we have an electronic online database of all of the known exposures for mining. Whether it be gold, silver, gemstones, it doesn't matter. And it's the min file database. And some of them are hundreds of years old. And lots of the sites that I go to have known exposures on the sites from years past where miners didn't think it was rich enough, or the economy was not right at the time, or whatever reason, they recorded that there was a finding, but, you know, maybe never turned into a mine. A lot of them did turn into mines. This one, the min file is way up the hill there somewhere, up on top of this hill. But it showed that there was a quartz vein with gold in it up here somewhere. I managed to get the claim all around the min file, and now it's time for some, you know, boots on the ground prospecting, seeing if that spot or anything close by is showing anything worthwhile. And that's why I'm just, you know, doing the shotgun method right now, seeing any piece of quartz that's in the area, because it did say it was a quartz vein with gold in it, grabbing them all and seeing what they show. Here's another little wash coming off the hill. Let's go in and see what it looks like. Oh yeah. I love these washes because they bring down material from above and give you a cross section of sort of what's up the hill. Big chunk of quartz, lots of really juicy sulfide quartz here. Like, that stuff is good. Really good, and lots of it. And this is interesting to see too. I just grabbed all that stuff. It was sitting all in this one little area. I went to try to move that guy and that guy. This is bedrock. Doesn't budge. You can hit as hard as you want. It's attached. So this seam is in situ right here. Really good thing to take note of. If I do find any free mill gold in anything, I will be coming back to this spot to test just that. I'll dig all around and get some samples of just the material from that seam. But there'll be lots of seams like that for me to test, if I find any gold. Here's a juicy looking one. Oh, down in the ditch, culvert. Oh, more quartz there, more quartz there. Where did I see it? This one. Look at all the sulfides on it. That's worth taking. So is that. Nice. Bigger hands, need bigger hands. Bigger buckets, need bigger buckets. And a few slides like this one just seem to be littered everywhere with smaller pieces. Even some bigger ones up there. So obviously this stuff is like breaking out of the hills right above me and just sloughing down. And so far it's all iron staining I'm seeing. I'm not seeing any copper staining on any of these things. I don't think the min file said there's any copper here, but that's the other thing that we look for in these ores. First thing I look for is iron staining on quartz, then I look for copper staining. The two of those things really indicate better ore than just straight white quartz. Uh-oh, second bucket, fill it up pretty quick. And here's a real nice bedrock outcrop. Definitely see some stringers of quartz at the top there. I assume if I dug around below, I'd find pieces of that quartz. Yeah, I see it right in there. Working on bucket 3, and I found another really neat deposit here. I really like the look of this stuff. I haven't been bringing out the camera for the stuff that I think is ho-hum boring. So when I say I really like the look of everything on camera, well, that's because I'm only bringing out the camera for the stuff I really like the look of. Lots of areas like this here. Now I've found what looks to be an old machine trench, old workings. Some sort of exposure, some sort of quartz, because I see quartz pieces all over the ground here. Like everywhere I look, I see quartz. And this definitely looks to be dug out by, you know, an excavator or something in the past. And just quartz, quartz, big quartz. Basically every one of those rocks on the surface down there is quartz. So they were definitely checking this seam out a little more carefully. I will take part of my sample from here for sure. Good looking stuff. Really nice looking stuff. And there's the seam right down at the bottom. Very rusty, very mineralized, very everywhere. Well, let's take some of this back to the truck. All those rotted out sulfides in quartz. Good looking gold ore. And my first indications of any copper, a little bit of green. And I need to point out one more time that prospecting like this is not about recovering value in metal, like value in gold. Those buckets I took, if I'm lucky, will have $1 worth of gold in them, but it's about proving the deposit on the ground, not about recovering the gold at this point. A lot of people commented in my last videos with Jason from Mount Baker Mining that it cost us a lot of money to recover $10 worth of gold. Yeah, like $50 worth of materials to recover $10 worth of gold. Yes, that's a loss. However, because of the information I got from that smelt, from that processing, I was able to sell that property for a lot of money. So it's not about recovering the gold prospecting. It's about proving the deposit in the ground. And then, in many cases, selling it off to another mining company that can actually go and, you know, develop that land into a potential mine. And that last one with Jason from Mount Baker worked perfect. The mining company loved the results and they bought the land. This one here most likely won't turn into anything. You know, 99 times out of 100, these prospects don't turn out, but you have to check them all for that 1% that turns into a literal gold mine. Nice looking material right there. Let's stop the truck and go have a look. Very thin stringers of gold. Yeah, stringers of gold. Stringers of quartz, but definitely worth grabbing a little sample or two to throw into the shotgun test. And here's another quartz seam right through there. Nice big one, and down below you can definitely see lots of debris that's fallen off of it. Not as rusty. This stuff is a lot whiter. I like it when it's rustier, but I will still take a piece or two of this to throw in for the test. Everywhere you go, more and more and more. This seems to be a big vertical seam coming down here that's just eroding straight down, and lots of quartz. Rust inclusions, rust meaning sulfides. I'm gonna have a large sample. And the other thing I find on my claims up this hill is this deposit of serpentine. Here's my serpentine deposit. I come here to collect serpentine once in a while. That's what I sell on my website for just common serpentine. And yeah, so I'm in the exact same area. And reports do say that there is some gold associated with the serpentine, but up this part of the hill, it's mostly the quartz veins that I'm looking for. But I'll show you some of this serpentine while I'm here. Beautiful green stuff. Anyhow, thought you'd like to see that while I was in the area. Serpentine. Now the next step is to run down to Jason, Washington State. He is only a couple hours away from me. So run down there, run it through his crushers, over his shaker table, see what there is for free milled gold. I don't know if I'll smelt the sulfides that come off. I'm more interested to see if there's free milled gold up here. But we'll see what Jason has to say. And it's always fun hanging out with Jason from Mount Baker Mining and Metals. So let's go give him a call and see what we can arrange. What an amazing view coming down to the Fraser River. Fall is definitely in the air. Well, I was lucky enough to convince Jason to invite me back down to his shop here to crush this ore. This is about a week and a half after I collected it. And Jason from Mount Baker Mining and Metals ordered specially for us lots of rain. It is a miserable day out here, but we're gonna run these samples, see what they have. My hopes aren't too high, but we could still be surprised.
All right,
let's do it. So we do have the 2 bags I collected while I was up there, plus a bucket full of the material. I brought some other stuff to run through his machine later. There'll probably be another video, but these 3 items right here are what are gonna be going through the big jaw crusher from Mount Baker Mining and Metals, then onto the impact mill up there, and then over the shaker table. And we will be smelting the concentrates from this to see what kind of gold content it has. That's enough talking in the rain. Let's just do it. That machine sure chews through that rock fast, Jason.
It goes quick, doesn't it?
It's quick.
Yeah.
We ended up with, what, 4 or 5 buckets of crush?
Yeah.
That's probably give me 4.5 when we're done. Now that's crushed through the jaw crusher. We still have to crush it through the impact mill to bring this, you know, quarter minus material down to powder. That's probably half minus, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, now we gotta release the gold.
Release the gold. Okay, we're gonna weigh our material so we know how much we're running through.
Each bucket weighs 1 kilogram.
About a kg for a bucket. We got 13.8. We'll say 14 there. 21. 23.5. 24.5. And 22.5. Rough and dirty, that is 100 kilograms right there. 100 kg. And now, the hammer mill.
Gotta wait for water to get up here.
Isn't it raining enough?
Yeah. There it goes. There we go.
So the hammer mill brings it down to a powder, a very, very small crush. Then it goes out into the distribution channel here that spreads it out over the shaker table. The shaker table does its little thing, separates the light material from the medium material from the heavy material. And the heavy is what we want today, because gold is heavy. The heaviest material should be shaking its way over here, coming down the trough out here into this bin. The medium stuff, the stuff that's still heavy but not quite as heavy, will drop into the seconds here. The thirds get sort of the mediocre stuff, and then the tailings just go away. And unfortunately, with no sunshine, it's gonna be really hard to point out if we see any free mill gold go through. Looks like Jason just ran the last bucket through. Now we just need to let the table do its thing for a little bit. That whole process, both crushings and running over the table, took us maybe 20, 25 minutes, if that. It was quick. Smelting will take a lot longer. And we also need to let the table just run for a bit here, let it do its thing. Ah, there we go, the generator's off. We can hear each other talk now.
Yeah.
We just have to let the table run for a few minutes here and make sure it's got everything it wants to get. And then we'll brush off the, you know, the spots on the table that could hold good stuff still. We'll brush those down. There's the crusher turning off.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's the stuff that we want to smelt right there.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
That's the good stuff.
And Dan, how long did it take for us to run that 100 kilograms?
I'm thinking that was 25 minutes.
25 minutes from start in the jaw crusher all the way through the system.
Everything.
All by hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smelting's gonna take an hour, but yeah. Running it through this system was so quick. I love working with the bigger, you know, actual industrial equipment rather than that hobby stuff I have at home. This is just makes all the difference.
Night and day.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people ask me, how much sample do I need? You know, what's a good sample worth? And I would say anywhere in that 50 to 150 kilogram range is just perfect. There's really no reason to bring tons and tons because it's just too much material. We're really not set up to run that. But to get a really good kind of representative bulk sample, 4, 5, 6 buckets, it's just perfect. Just like you've been bringing, that is prime stuff for getting a really good feel for what's in your ore.
Right, we're not here for recovery. This is not actually recovering gold for the sake of gold. We're here recovering a sample, recovering the gold from a sample for the information, not for the gold.
Correct, exactly.
We're abandoning the great outdoors for now because it is miserable out there.
Back in the workshop.
Back inside.
Yeah.
And we have number 1s and number 2s.
Yeah. So what do you think about this plan, Dan? What I've done in the past that works pretty well is if we put them in a gold pan off some of that quartz that is junk.
Yep.
And then we can reduce the amount of material that we have to smelt, and that'll give us, you know, I think we can get it all in one crucible.
Perfect.
And all one smelt.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's do that.
There's more sulfides in there than I expected to see.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I expected it mostly just to be rust. Like sulfides that have already oxidized out, but looks like there's a few sulfides. That's nice. Jason's panned off most of the silica right now, most of the quartz, so we're just leaving straight sulfides. He was just explaining to me that most of his smelts he does here are straight sulfide smelts, so he can get the ratios better if we get rid of the quartz first. He will be adding in silica later, but he will add in a set amount, a known amount. But there you go. There is a lot more sulfides there than I was actually expecting in that ore. I can't speak. Jason said we have 200 grams of sulfides. He's going to mix up the appropriate flux for that much material. If you want to know more about the fluxes, more about smelting, more about the machinery outside that we are working, we do have previous videos where we explain it all. Right now, we're just using it, we're just doing it. If you want to actually know the nitty-gritty, go back and check out previous videos.
That's right.
Well, there's our flux, all ready to go. We're gonna put our ore in with the flux and mix it up really good. Really well, not really good. My English teacher wife hates it when I say things like that.
Get that all down in there. That's clean. There's our stuff. Put a lid on, shake it up real good.
Shake it, baby.
Here's our crucible. We got our flux mixed up with our sulfides. Oh, don't spill it.
Don't lose the gold.
Yeah. And get it in the. There we go. A little bit overkill on the crucible, but that's okay.
You won't have a boil over.
Yeah. Get it in our furnace and get going.
Oh yes, let's get the furnace going and warm up.
Warm up, dry out.
You can't get the lighter to work.
My lighter won't work.
It's too wet. Whoop. Now while Jason gets the furnace all set and ready to go here, I need to talk about why we do smelts like this. A lot of people are concerned that we're losing money by doing these smelts because it costs more in chemicals than we recover in gold. But that's not why we're doing this. We're not actually here to recover the gold. We're here to get information about how much gold is in that ore. And where the financial benefit comes in is a bit later when we can sell off that property to a mining company or go and mine it ourselves. To start with, we need to know what's in the ground. And that's what this is. Yes, it is a little bit of a losing proposition that we are spending more than we're recovering. But for instance, the Midway mine, because we did 3 smelts, I was able to sell that mine for a very significant amount of money. There is a benefit, just not in a little smelt like this. You have to look at the greater picture. Oh, she's getting hot. Look at the kiln glowing. Yep. 1100, what's our target temperature?
1100.
Excellent, we're there.
We're there. So yeah, let's heat up the cone mold and then we'll pour it.
Sounds good. While the smelt was in here doing its thing, we were outside processing some more ore for a later video. We're like wet rats or something now. We're soaked right through. It is so cold out there. You know, fall prospecting might be over here for the year. It might be time to go and hibernate for winter. Jason's getting all set up for the pour. I'm gonna get my cameras in place. We're gonna have a good shot. are. The pour is done. We got some great little convection currents going on inside as it cools off. And let's hope there's some gold at the bottom of that. Any kind of visible bead I'll be happy with on this smelt. I just realized that we just smelted that first sample we ran, but one of my goals was to see if there was any visible gold in that quartz, and we never checked. It's a little late for that. Well, let's hope we get a bead of gold. At least tells us what there is in there. Well, it's time to get the lead out. You gonna just flip it right there or up on the table, or?
I'll do it up on the table.
Up on the table?
Make my wet foam work here.
Yeah, everything is wet. We are soaked right through. It is so miserable out there.
Take this. Earlier I sprayed the mold with WD-40 to make a carbon layer so it doesn't stick. If you don't spray it with carbon, after a while it starts sticking.
Hey, nice and easy.
Out. So there should be a lead prill right there. I'm gonna get my gloves on. And just take a hammer and
Somewhere?
that's there.
Oh, I see something denting, so you got...
My hat's dripping.
There it is.
There it is. Get that cleaned up here.
There's the lead. Time to go to the Coupel, get the lead out of it, and see what there is for gold left behind.
Here's our little lead prill. We will put it
In a very hot Coupel.
Yeah. There we go. So that will start melting. Oxidize the lead. The lead doesn't actually burn off in the atmosphere. It absorbs into that little Coupel, that little cup in there, and the precious metal can't oxidize, and so they're left behind as a little bead.
Yeah, what he said. Okay, Jason. Basically any kind of bead and I'm happy with here.
Okay, so if we got any bead in here, you're going to be happy.
That means we have some gold.
We got something going on. What do we have? Hey, we got a little bead.
We got a bead.
We got a bead.
It's not a huge bead, but it's a bead.
Blink.
Ooh.
Nice.
Nice blink too. Oh,
Yeah.
This camera wouldn't have got it though.
So yeah, that's a pretty nice little bead. We'll let that cool down a little bit, and then we'll weigh it.
Not a bad little bead in that Coupel. There's my gold. Little gold bead.
Hold out your hand.
Oh, I get it in my hand?
Yeah, this is yours.
Oh, it's hot. No, it's not. There we are.
Kind of silvery color, huh?
Yep, and there's obviously some silver content to it.
Yeah.
It's not bright yellow.
Let's get out the fine scale and we'll weigh it.
And now to weigh the bead. Yep, you can pick it up right from my hand. And the bead from 100 kilograms of ore comes out to 0.12 grams. Now that bead right there tells me that somewhere on that claim there are precious metals, gold and silver, which is all I needed to know from this sample. Yes, as you saw earlier, it was a shotgun sample. It was rocks from everywhere. So I don't know exactly where this came from, but this does give me the indication that more prospecting is needed on that site. If this came out completely barren, I would have to, abandon that site from there. But, 1.2 grams per ton definitely means it's worth continuing to look for more, see where the ores are, and see which ones pay the best. So Jason, your equipment worked marvelously again. Thank you so much for helping me with this sample, proving my ground.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Dan. And I want to say to all the other viewers, Mount Baker Mining and Metals, we do run samples for people. There is a fee associated with it. But if you wanted to contact us, you can find our contact information on our website. And you can send us buckets of samples and we can run them for you. And if you decide to buy equipment from us, the fee goes to purchasing your equipment. So contact us if you want to run samples like you saw Dan run today. And I hope we can help you find gold too.
Well, thank you again. That was so much fun. When this miserable weather, finally breaks for spring, I'll have you up to BC and we'll do some prospecting together up in BC.
That would be great. I would love that. Get up with Dan, do a little placer work, and I really appreciate it. Yeah,
Bring you to the Fraser and find you some nuggets.
Let's do it. Yeah, that would be great.
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me that thumbs up. If I haven't earned your subscription yet, I hope I earned your subscription today. And a big thanks to everyone for watching, especially my patrons. Because of the support of my patrons, I get to make weekly episodes of Dan Hurd Prospecting. Hope you're all having a much warmer day than us. And until the next one, bye.